Hi, you're listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about Propagandhi. My name is Katie Gordon, and I'm a psychologist who writes self-help books for people struggling with suicidal thoughts. I'm super excited to do this guest episode about the last track on Propagandhi's newest album, At Peace. I'm a big fan of this podcast, so it's really cool to have this opportunity to do this. The track is called Something Needs to Die, but maybe it's not you, and I actually think it's a really powerful suicide prevention anthem for 2025 and beyond. Now for a little personal context, I want to take you back to 1996 when I first became a Propagandhi fan. A high school friend, hi Joy, told me to check out Propagandhi's Less Talk, More Rock. It quickly became one of my favorite albums, with a lasting impact on my developing political views. I mean, the album says anti-fascist, gay positive, pro-feminist, animal-friendly right on it, and that inspired me to learn so much more about historical and current activism. I remain vegetarian to this day, partially because of questions that were prompted in my mind through nailing Descartes to the wall. Fast forward almost 30 years, the same friend from high school, who I was lucky to get to see this year, told me to check out Propagandhi's At Peace the week or so before it was released. If you'll allow a moment of sentimentality, what a gift it is to have a band you enjoy still releasing music you love so many years later, and then to have the same friend to talk about their music with over the time span, that's even more amazing. More about Propagandhi soon, but first, some more about mental health. I'm a psychologist, and I believe therapeutic tools are helpful for suicidal thoughts. I've seen this in my own work. I've seen therapy make a difference for people who are struggling. I want everyone to have access to therapeutic tools, and that's why I write and talk so much about science-informed tools for suicide prevention. I also firmly believe that effective suicide prevention efforts must include substantially increasing access to safety, shelter, food, healthcare, and education for all. Discrimination and bigotry must also be vehemently opposed and major targets of suicide prevention efforts. To take just one recent example, the LGBTQ+ youth suicide lifeline through 988 in the USS was terminated last month, despite the fact that it was a highly used free mental health service for a group that experiences higher rates of discrimination, bullying, and suicidal thoughts. If you're an American LGBTQ+ youth experiencing suicidal thoughts and you hear that news, how can you help but struggle with feelings of hopelessness, isolation, and despair? Here's the intersection again with Propagandhi. Imagine you're an LGBTQ+ youth. Maybe you are, or maybe a loved one is going through this right now. You're struggling with those suicidal thoughts. You're in deep, agonizing pain. And then on top of that, a major resource is no longer available to you and was hatefully taken away by the presidential administration. You might internalize that as further evidence that you're unworthy of support and that your life itself is not desirable to the people in power and those who support those people in power. The last song on At Peace beautifully externalizes these types of circumstances instead with the title Something Needs to Die, but maybe it's not you. Hatred and discrimination need to die, not you. I don't know the intended meaning of the title, but that's how it struck me. Now let's take a closer look at some of the lyrics. Staring at the ceiling and the darkness, your mind is racing, repeating. What's the point of all this? What does any of it mean?
Staring at the ceiling in the darkness, your mind is racing, repeating. Life is but a manic series of deflating failures when compared to the images that flash across the screen. What's the point of all this? What does any of it mean? Good question. I'd like the answer myself.
Most of us can relate to that. At one time or another, we have wondered what it all means. Maybe perhaps especially at night when we're struggling and feeling alone. Then back to the lyrics. Good question. I'd like the answer myself. Right? So this is kind of a universal struggling for meaning that we all experience. And then the lyrics say, but there's one thing I know for sure. You were sent here with a gift. Hey, I may not know the meaning of all of this, but you were sent here with a gift. But that great deceiver in your ear, laughing it all off with a sneer, with a derisive, discordant blast, is terrified that one day you'll grasp creation don't make no trash.
Gift is not heroics or recognition. It's not the hatred. Our demonic leaders keep demanding. It's something so impossibly mundane. Cannot be measured, it cannot be named. It's something so crucial to how things turn out. You were sent here with it to conquer chaos and doubt. But that great deceiver in your ear, laughing it all off with a sneer, ha! With a derisive, discordant blast, terrified that one day you'll grasp creation don't make no trash.
So there is a deceiver in your ear. That can be propaganda, that can be people in power saying things, that can be discrimination and bigotry, be all kinds of sources. And it's terrified that you will understand, actually, that creation doesn't make any trash. So back to lyrics. You may feel ill-equipped and aimlessly adrift. How relatable is that? But you were sent here with a gift. What will you do with it? Despite everything hard and hateful, you have inherent value just by uniquely being you. The lyrics of the song are so compelling because they honestly recognize the real challenges in the world while empowering you to use your gift to make your life and community a better place. And that is a true source of hope. If you're experiencing suicidal thoughts, please call 988 in the United States or visit isp.info/suicidal thoughts to find a free helpline.
But you were sent here with a gift.